All right, so today we're going to be diving headfirst into crypto.
Ooh, fun.
But hold on.
Okay.
Before you think this is just another one of those episodes about which coin is about to like skyrocket or whatever,
Yeah.
we're getting practical with your crypto today.
Okay, love it.
Yeah, so just imagine you're at a conference
Okay.
and a speaker announces a game-changing new project.
Right.
Everyone's buzzing about it.
Mm-hmm.
The token's about to launch.
Yeah.
And, like deep in your gut that this is your chance to get in early.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a catch.
Oh.
All your funds are sitting in your Robinhood account.
Oh, no.
So the question is, do you think you'd be able to jump on that opportunity in time?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're tackling today in this deep dive. Can you really rely on Robinhood when it comes to accessing your crypto quickly?
You've hit on a really interesting point there. I think, we often hear about crypto as this like revolutionary decentralized system.
Right.
But then when it comes to actually getting your hands on your money, those traditional financial structures can still like really throw a wrench in the gears.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So let's just like break down Robinhood for a second. On the surface, it seems pretty user-friendly, right?
Yeah.
But when you start looking at like, those larger transactions or, those times when you need your money like ASA, some limitations kind of pop up.
Okay.
Like, for instance, standard transfers out of Robinhood are capped at $50,000 a day.
Okay.
Which sounds pretty generous.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you realize it takes 4 to 5 business days to process.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's where the whole like crypto is this like instantly transferable asset.
Right, exactly.
Kind of breaks down a bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what if you need that money today?
Right.
Not next week.
Right. Like in our conference scenario, those 4 or 5 days could mean like missing out on that early investment opportunity entirely.
Totally. Yeah. And it really highlights how those traditional systems still have a big influence on even the most cutting edge financial technologies.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, Robinhood does have an instant transfer option.
Okay.
Which, on the surface sounds like the perfect solution.
Yeah, for sure.
But, of course, there are some caveats.
Okay.
It's limited to $5,000 per transaction.
Gotcha.
And there's a 1.75% fee attached.
Like, wow. Okay.
So let's say you need to move $10,000 out, like instantly.
Right.
Suddenly you're looking at 2 separate transactions.
Yeah.
And $175 in fees just to access your own money.
Wow. That's a pretty big chunk.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about crypto, which is often touted for its low transaction costs.
Right.
So it's like a classic financial dilemma,
Right.
Speed versus cost.
Yeah.
It's always a trade-off.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole other layer of complexity when we talk about like crypto withdrawals specifically. So Robinhood limits you to $5,000 worth of crypto withdrawals per day.
Oh, wow.
Or a maximum of 10 transfers.
Okay.
So even if you're like okay with the fees and, the multiple transactions, you still might hit a wall.
Right. That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to like the broader crypto landscape, these limits could really hamstring your ability to react to market shifts or seize those fleeting opportunities that can make such a difference in crypto trading. You know, it's such a fast-paced world.
Yeah.
And these restrictions could leave you feeling like you're stuck watching from the sidelines.
Totally.
Yeah.
And this all circles back to like this fundamental principle in the crypto world. Not your keys, not your crypto.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
Right.
Yeah.
This basically means that, when you hold crypto on a platform like Robinhood, they're acting as a custodian.
Right.
They hold your keys, not you.
It's a bit like the difference between like renting an apartment and owning a house. When you rent, it's convenient.
Right.
But you have to play by the landlord's rules.
Right.
When you own, you have more freedom and control.
Right.
But it also comes with more responsibility.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So is there a way to like own your crypto to have that same level of like control and autonomy that you have with a house?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's where cold wallets come into play.
Okay, cold wallets.
Yeah.
I've heard of these.
These are physical devices. Imagine like a high-tech USB stick designed specifically for storing your crypto offline.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And a popular example is the Ledger Nano X.
Okay. So walk me through this.
Yeah.
What makes cold wallets so different from keeping your crypto on a platform like Robinhood?
The key difference is that with a cold wallet, your private keys, which are essentially the passwords to your crypto, are stored offline, completely separate from any internet-connected device.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and this makes them incredibly resistant to hacking attempts because they're simply not accessible through the internet.
Gotcha.
It's like keeping your savings in a safe buried in your backyard.
Yeah.
Much harder for someone to break in and steal it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So if someone tries to hack Robinhood, like theoretically, they could get access to those keys.
Right.
But with a cold wallet, that risk is essentially eliminated.
Exactly. It shifts the responsibility for security entirely onto you.
Right.
Which can sound daunting to some people.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But it also offers a level of control that you simply can't get with custodial platforms.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would our, conference attendee use a cold wallet in that situation?
So let's say they have their funds securely stored on their cold wallet. As soon as that new token launches, they can initiate a transaction directly from their cold wallet.
Wow.
No need to wait for approvals.
Okay.
No withdrawal limits, no hefty fees. They're in complete control.
That sounds incredibly empowering.
It is.
Especially for someone who wants to be nimble and react quickly in the crypto market.
Exactly.
But I imagine there's a learning curve involved with cold wallets, right?
There definitely is.
Okay.
It's not as simple as clicking a button on an app.
Right.
You need to understand how to set up the wallet, manage your private keys, and make transactions securely.
So it's not for everyone, especially someone just dipping their toes into the crypto world?
It depends on your priorities and risk tolerance.
Right.
For some, the convenience of Robinhood is worth the trade-offs.
Yeah.
For others, the peace of mind and control that come with a cold wallet are paramount.
Okay, so we've got Robinhood on one side, cold wallets on the other.
Right.
It seems like there's a whole spectrum of options out there.
Definitely.
What are some of the key factors someone should consider when deciding which route to take?
Well, I think it really boils down to a balancing act. You have to weigh convenience against security.
Right.
And the level of control you want over your assets.
So it's not necessarily about one being better than the other,
right?
But more about finding the right fit for your individual needs and comfort level.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people get caught up in the hype, thinking they need to jump into the deep end with cold wallets and self-custody right away.
Right.
But for someone just starting out who maybe only has a small amount invested, the simplicity of Robinhood might be perfectly fine.
Right. It's like learning to drive.
Right.
You wouldn't start by trying to handle a race car. Right.
Yeah.
You'd begin with something more manageable.
Right.
Something that allows you to build confidence and skills before taking on a bigger challenge.
That's a great analogy. And as you become more familiar with the crypto landscape, as your investment grows and as you become more comfortable with the technical side of things, that's when exploring cold wallets and self-custody can make a lot of sense.
So it's like leveling up in a video game.
Exactly.
You start with the basic tools and then gradually unlock more advanced features as you progress.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a certain satisfaction that comes with taking ownership of your crypto, with understanding those underlying mechanisms and having the confidence to manage your assets securely.
Now, I know you mentioned earlier that there's a learning curve with cold wallet.
Yeah.
I remember when I first set up mine, I was so nervous about messing up those private keys.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like I was handling some kind of top secret code that could unlock a vault of treasure.
I think everyone goes through that initial anxiety, but that's also part of the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It forces you to slow down to really understand the technology and to appreciate the responsibility that comes with managing your own assets.
So it's not just about the technical steps.
Right. It's also about shifting your mindset.
Totally.
You're becoming your own bank in a way.
Precisely.
Right.
And that shift in mindset is what can be so empowering for people. It takes away that reliance on third parties and puts you in the driver's seat.
Okay, but let's be realistic.
Yeah.
Isn't the learning curve a bit steep for most people?
It can be.
Yeah.
For sure.
Are there resources available to help people navigate this transition?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There are tons of great resources out there.
Okay.
Online tutorials, step-by-step guides, even communities where people can connect and learn from each other.
Oh, cool.
It's like anything new.
Yeah.
It takes a bit of effort up front.
Right.
But the rewards can be significant.
Okay, so for someone who's intrigued by the idea of cold wallets, where would you suggest they start?
I'd say the first step is to do your research.
Okay.
There are many different types of cold wallets available, each with its own features and security measures.
Right. Read reviews, compare prices, and try to understand the technical nuances before making a decision.
Okay.
It's also crucial to choose a reputable brand with a proven track record of security.
Makes sense.
You wouldn't want to trust your crypto to just any random device, right?
Yeah, it's like choosing a bank.
Right.
You want one that you feel confident will keep your money safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once you've selected a cold wallet, take the time to understand how to use it properly.
Right.
Don't rush the setup process.
Right.
Practice making small transactions first before transferring larger amounts.
Gotcha.
And most importantly, keep those private keys safe and secure.
All right, so we've talked a lot about like the security benefits of cold wallets.
Great.
But let's zoom out for a second and connect this to the bigger picture of crypto and finance in general.
Yeah.
What does the growing interest in self-custody tell us about like the direction things are heading?
It's a fascinating trend to observe.
You know, I think it reflects a growing desire among people to have more control over their financial lives, to move away from centralized institutions and towards more decentralized models.
So it's not just about like the technology itself. It's about like the underlying philosophy of decentralization and individual empowerment that crypto represents.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think we're just scratching the surface of what's possible as more people become comfortable with self-custody. We could see a fundamental shift in how we manage our assets, how we interact with financial systems, and how we define ownership in the digital age.
Okay, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about some of the practical aspects of using cold wallets.
Sure.
One thing I've always wondered about is how transactions actually work when your crypto is stored offline.
Yeah.
It seems counterintuitive, like sending a letter without an address.
That's a great question.
You know, and it gets to the heart of how blockchain technology works.
Okay.
You see, even though your crypto is stored offline on your cold wallet, the information about your holdings is still recorded on the blockchain, which is a publicly accessible ledger.
So it's like having a record of your ownership stored in a giant public library that anyone can access.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And when you want to make a transaction, you use your cold wallet to like sign that transaction offline using your private keys.
So it's like putting your unique signature on a check to authorize the payment.
That's a good way to think about it.
Okay.
And once you've signed the transaction, you can broadcast it to the blockchain network using an internet-connected device.
So it's like sending that signed check to the bank to be processed.
Precisely.
Okay.
And because the blockchain network is decentralized and secure, your transaction can be verified and added to the ledger without the need for a central intermediary, like a bank.
That's incredible.
It is pretty amazing.
It's like cutting out the middleman entirely.
Yeah.
And allowing people to transact directly with each other.
Right.
Peer to peer.
And that's one of the most revolutionary aspects of blockchain technology and the whole idea of self-custody. It gives individuals a level of financial autonomy that was simply not possible before.
So it's not just about like the nuts and bolts of like moving money around.
Right.
It's about reshaping the entire financial landscape.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
And it's exciting to see how it's unfolding and what the long-term implications will be.
Now, with all this talk about like cold wallets and self-custody, does that mean platforms like Robinhood are becoming obsolete?
I wouldn't say obsolete, but they certainly face a challenge in adapting to this evolving landscape.
So it's a bit of a crossroads for them.
I think
they need to find ways to offer that same level of control and security that people are seeking through self-custody.
Exactly.
Right.
They need to find ways to bridge that gap between the convenience of custodial platforms and the empowerment of self-custody.
Right.
Maybe that means integrating cold wallet functionality.
Okay.
Maybe it means exploring decentralized exchanges, or maybe it means something entirely new that we haven't even thought of yet.
So it's like a race to innovate.
Totally.
To keep pace with the changing needs and expectations of crypto users.
And that's what makes this space so dynamic and exciting. It's constantly evolving, pushing boundaries, and challenging the status quo.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've talked about the limitations of Robinhood, the benefits of cold wallets, and the broader implications of self-custody for the future of finance.
That's a lot to take in.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to touch on one more important aspect. Security.
Okay. Yeah.
When you're responsible for managing your own crypto,
Right.
it's crucial to have a solid understanding of security best practices.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
Security should always be top of mind
Yeah.
when dealing with crypto, especially when you're self-custodying.
Yeah, for sure. And for our listeners out there, remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've given you a taste of what's possible with self-custody,
Right.
but there's a whole universe of information and resources out there waiting to be explored.
That's so true. This deep dive has been a fantastic overview.
Yeah.
But the real journey begins when you start digging deeper,
Right.
experimenting, and finding what works best for you.
Yeah. It's like we've given you the map and the compass.
Yeah.
But now it's up to you to chart your own course through this like exciting world of crypto.
And remember, it's not about finding the right answer.
Right.
There isn't one.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the options, the risks, the potential rewards,
Right.
and making choices that align with your personal financial goals and values.
So for someone who's hearing all of this for the first time
Yeah.
and they're feeling a little overwhelmed,
Right.
what's like the first step they should take?
I'd say start by asking yourself some fundamental questions.
Okay.
What are your financial goals?
Hmm.
What's your risk tolerance?
Yeah.
How comfortable are you with technology?
Okay.
Once you have a clear sense of your own needs and priorities,
Yeah.
you can start exploring different options
Right.
and see what resonates with you.
It's like choosing a path in a choose your own adventure book, right?
Totally.
You have the power to shape your own financial destiny.
Hmm.
But first, you need to know what direction you want to go in.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
There's always something new to learn,
Yeah.
new technologies to explore, and
Yeah.
new ways to manage your assets.
For sure.
Embrace the process, be curious.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
That's such a great point. The crypto world is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
So it's important to stay informed, adapt, and be open to new possibilities.
Right.
Who knows what amazing innovations are just around the corner.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
It's a space filled with potential and opportunity, and it's up to each of us to explore it
Yeah.
and discover what it has to offer.
Well, on that note of exploration and discovery,
Yeah.
we're going to wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
We hope you've enjoyed the journey and feel empowered to take control of your financial future.
It's been a pleasure joining you on this adventure.
And to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
keep those questions coming.
Mm-hmm.
Keep exploring.
Yes.
And stay tuned for more deep dives into the fascinating world of finance and technology.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us.